Playing some Crazy Taxi. You know, the original Sega game. You know, the game that no one would ever dare try and rip off and think they could get away with it. You know what I'm saying? Just this a legendary title for the arcade slash Dreamcast. You know what I'm saying? So Sega's intellectual property, something that you know what I'm saying, no one in their right mind would dare try and rip off. You know what I'm saying? But Sega Slayer, I hear you say, released today, Taxi Chaos. Oh boy, we got something to talk about today. And if you keep up with Sega news, this one's a doozy, boys. And just in case you were wondering, I'll state this now. Yes, I'm on the side of Sega in this debate. Hey Slayers, I'm the world's coolest Sega enthusiast, Sega Slayer 64, and boy, oh boy, does old Sega Slayer have something to talk about today, folks. Now look, I consider, now keep in mind, right, okay, I don't usually cover news on this channel, even like modern, I talk about modern Sega, and I'll talk about some, I don't think I've ever really covered any Sega news topics, you know what I'm saying? I don't usually cover that on this channel, and you know, it's not because I don't want to cover it.
Stop lying. You're a liar. Lies.
It's just because, you know what I'm saying, yes, it's interesting, you know what I'm saying, but I never really saw a personal need for me to cover it, unless it was something really big, I would cover it, but I never really covered Sega news today. But there's been a little debate going on in the Sega community and a certain other community about a game that released it also. I figured I could probably capitalize on this while it just came out today, you know what I'm saying? Shamelessly, you know, at that, I have no shame. Yes, I want to capitalize on this debate, and I want to get a few more viewers. No, but also this just interests me, and personally, in this debate, I am on the side of Sega 100% when it comes to this. And what you might be like, Sega Slayer, if you don't know what I'm talking about, which, if you don't keep up with Sega news, you probably don't, I'm playing Crazy Taxi. Now, there's this game that released today, right? Now, we all know Crazy Taxi is a legendary Sega title, a legendary game. It literally created its own genre of taxi drivers, and really, there was nothing else like this game on the market, you know what I'm saying? And if you want to be honest, it was a fun arcade open world racer, you know what I'm saying? How many open world games did you get back in the day? You really didn't get that many, you know what I'm saying? Now Sega, they still make Crazy Taxi games occasionally, but usually they come out for mobile or handheld consoles. I remember the last one came out for mobile devices, and then there was one that came out for the PSP and DS, and not the DS, just the PSP. But Sega hasn't really, it's safe to say Sega hasn't really touched, oh man, I still get amazed every time I see that KFC. Sega hasn't really touched the genre slash series in a little bit of a while. But recently, and I just found out about this game today, I didn't even know it was coming out. There's this game called Taxi Chaos that has been making the rounds, you know what I'm saying? And I'll put up the articles in a bit, but essentially what these guys are doing is shamelessly, at that, ripping off Crazy Taxi and saying, you know, it's their idea, you know, they came up with it, and they essentially just made a Crazy Taxi game and put it on the Switch. And the thing is, they quite shamelessly boast that it's Crazy Taxi. Like, they don't even hide the fact that they're blatantly ripping off Crazy Taxi. Like, straight up, like they literally say you can pick up your crazy passengers in this crazy taxi adventure full of crazy chaos. Like, crazy, really. Let's be honest here, okay? They're ripping off Crazy Taxi. It's the exact same game. You have a certain amount of time to pick up as many passengers as you can, cause chaos around the town, and make money. Crazy money at that, okay? Now, this is so shamelessly a ripoff. Like, they don't do anything different. It's just Crazy Taxi. And this released today on all consoles. But what makes this even worse is, right, these guys, let's just say, they got a good pair on them, okay? That's just the best way I'm going to phrase that sentence, okay? Because they had the nerve to even say Sega was involved in the project and that Sega was going to be shipping the game out in Asian markets and that Sega was officially licensing this game and that Sega was endorsing them and that Sega this, Sega that. Well, let's just say Sega came out today and said, that's all crap. It's not true. They didn't endorse the... Sorry about the little camera cut there. I ran out of storage. But yeah, essentially what I was saying was Sega came out today and said that's all crap. It's bull crap. We don't have anything to do with this project, and we're looking at legal options that we can take against this company, okay? That's essentially what Sega said, to put in blatant terms, you know? So they were saying Sega was involved, Sega was going to distribute the game in Asian markets, and Sega came out today and said, we have nothing to do with this project. In fact, we don't endorse this project, and we're looking at legal actions that we can take against this project, okay? Sega's ready to sue, and you guys, you might be saying, "Oh, look at Sega, the big bad company, going after a small team of developers who are just trying to get their footing." You know what I'm saying? I don't agree with that anyway at all. That's straight up bullcrap. Okay, this company blatantly, and I don't know their name, and I'll find it out in a second when we read the article in a little bit more detail. But this company flat out had the nerve. Okay, they had the nerve to say this is a Sega official project. You know what I'm saying? Sega's endorsing this, you know what I'm saying? They came out and said Sega was going to be shipping the game out in Asian markets. Sega was completely endorsing this. Sega's okay with it. And they had the nerve to straight up, like, they essentially say the game is Crazy Taxi multiple times. Like, they call it Taxi Chaos, but they essentially say it's Crazy Taxi multiple times. And they even told a couple of articles, they even told news outlets, they straight up, and this is not them just saying this, they straight up told news outlets that they were going to be ripping off the game. Not that they were going to be ripping off the game, which they blatantly did. Like, I can't show any I'm not going to show any gameplay here, just because I don't want to face any copyright strikes by these idiots, you know what I'm saying? So, plus, I don't own the game anyway, nor would I buy the game just because, you know what I'm saying? I don't support people who just blatantly rip off stuff. I mean, I do, because I like that type of stuff. I find it funny, but not to the extent these guys have. And, you know, before I do anything, I would rather, you know what I'm saying, I would rather see how, before I even drop a dime on the game, I'd rather see how Sega and a potential lawsuit plays out against these guys, you know what I'm saying? Some of you guys might be like, well, okay, and then some of you other guys out there, right, might be like, well, Sega Slayer, Sega hasn't technically touched Crazy Taxi in a few years, and to that I'd say yeah, but at the same time, does that just mean you can go steal somebody's intellectual property? Okay, let me put it to you like this, okay? Let's say you're in your kitchen, right? You order some Chinese food, right? But you sit it on your countertop, and you decide you're gonna leave for an hour. Okay, you have to run somewhere, so you sit it down, you know what I'm saying, or you put it in your refrigerator, or whatever it is you're going to do with it, you know what I'm saying, and you leave your house, and you know you'll be back in an hour, and you'll eat it in an hour, okay? Now, let's just say your siblings, or your parents, or your mom, dad, whatever your partner, you know, whoever you're with, you know what I'm saying, decides they're going to come in, right, go into the kitchen while you're not home, right, and eat your Chinese food, just because you didn't touch it yet. Just think about that. Now, wouldn't you be pretty mad? I know I would be pretty mad, you know what I'm saying? If someone just decided they were going to take my food, right, just because I sat it down and I wasn't ready to eat it yet, I had to do something. I'd rather go do that first, then come back and eat my food, you know what I'm saying? That's how this series is, you know what I'm saying? Sega, just because they haven't made a Crazy Taxi game in a while, you know what I'm saying, doesn't mean that, first off, they weren't going to make another one. Second off, that they weren't still the copyright holders and trademark holders of the game. You know what I'm saying? It's still their intellectual property. That's like saying, that's like if Nintendo, right? If Nintendo made a Nintendo Switch, right? But they stopped producing them. You know what I'm saying? They put a hold on production for Nintendo Switches for about a week. Do you think a company could just come along and make a Nintendo Switch and call it a Nintendo Switch and then get away with that just because Nintendo and having the excuse of, oh, Nintendo wasn't making it, hasn't made one for a week, so that means we can make the Switch if we want to? It doesn't work like that, buddy, okay? So if any of you are out there defending this company for making a blatant Crazy Taxi ripoff, you know what I'm saying? Having the guts, okay? These guys have some guts on them to say it was endorsed by Sega, and then straight up just rip it off. Like, literally, they say it's a Crazy Taxi adventure multiple times, right? And they even decided, right? And just to go even further, they even decided to put the same type of rock music in the game. You know what I'm saying? Not the exact same songs, but the same type of rock music. You know what I'm saying? And we all know that that's Crazy Taxi. You can say Sega Slayer, anybody can put rock music in their game. You know what I'm saying? There's no denying it. This is an extreme case of a blatant ripoff without any repercussions. And there's gonna be repercussions because, like I said, Sega's taking legal action, and I'm with Sega on that. I'm backing Sega, okay? Now, I understand if this was a small indie developer trying to get their start, you know what I'm saying? And I don't even want to hear that crap, you know what I'm saying? Because here's the thing, right? There's multiple talented indie developers out there. And that's not saying, okay, let me explain this to you, okay? Before anyone else also says this. You can say, before anyone else says this, no, I'm not saying Sega are the only people who have the rights to make who have the rights to make a taxi game. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that. That's not something I'm saying. Just like Sega, Nintendo, whoever else don't have the right to only make platformers, or it's a genre and you have the right to do it. You know what I'm saying? But you have to make it your own way. You can't blatantly. And the thing is, right? And in a way, Sega kind of does have the only rights to make a taxi game, because the thing like this, right, is how do you make a taxi game fun? You know what I'm saying? Without ripping off Crazy Taxi. And you gotta ask yourself that question. You can't really do so. You know what I'm saying? Who's gonna want to play a taxi game where you just normally abide by the rules and pick up passengers? No one's gonna want to play that. I don't want to play that. You don't want to play that, do you? I don't want to play that. No one's gonna want to play that, and they know that. So then it gets to the point where it's like, okay, your only option is you have to rip off Sega. You know what I'm saying? And then you're not protected by copyright law, so there's really no way you could do it. But it's like, either find your own original twist on it or don't do it at all. That's just the way I feel. Like, just imagine, okay, now, some of you guys are like, okay, some of you are going to come back with what I said, because if you remember, I recently made the video on the Golden Axe fan game, and a lot of people tend to say, and you, again, you Taxi Chaos supporters out there, you're probably going to say, oh, but Sega Slayer, I thought you said, and I thought a bunch of other people said, Sega is the company of fan games. Sega is the company of fan games. They like fan games, don't they? Why are they going after Taxi Chaos? Well, consider this. Fan games are free, okay? No one's... Okay, Sega probably wouldn't even have a problem with Taxi Chaos if, first off, they didn't say Sega was involved with the project. Second off, if they didn't charge money for it, okay? And again, they didn't put it on official consoles. It's on official consoles. I think it's like $30, $40, something like that. Maybe even $20. I can't remember. I didn't check the prices. Like I said, we're going to read the article a little bit more in detail right now. But just think about that. They're charging full price for this game. And even if it's something like $5, that's still money that Sega could have made. You know what I'm saying? And again, and just because this, and let me also say something this real quick, right? Going back to my point earlier, where somebody might have said, okay, well, Sega Slayer, Sega hasn't done anything with the game in a while. Why can't they just decide now that they care about it? You know what I'm saying? Just because a company doesn't say they're doing something or doesn't announce something doesn't mean they're not doing it, okay? You know what I'm saying? And that's just the way things go, right? Like, we're all quite sure the new Sonic game is in development. Sega hasn't announced it yet, but let's be honest here, we're all quite sure it's in development. You know what I'm saying? You never know with a company what a company is doing and have planned. Take a look. Let me explain to you something. We just learned about a GoldenEye 007 remake for the Xbox 360 that Rare was in the process of making all those years ago. We just learned about it. You know what I'm saying? No one knew about that till now. And the thing is, the game was almost done. But for whatever reason, it got canceled. No one knew about that till now. So, That's a good example. Microsoft never told anyone about it. You know what I'm saying? They never announced it. They never said anything about it, and we just learned about it now. You know what I'm saying? There's still Sega Genesis and SNES games getting found today that never getting talked about. Just because Sega hasn't said they're doing anything with it doesn't mean they're not doing anything with it. You know what I'm saying? That's the way things go. You know what I'm saying? And I think this company, like I said, I'm personally not going to support them yet. You know what I'm saying? I want to see how if Sega takes any action against them, and if Sega does take action, how does the case play out before I buy anything? You know what I'm saying? Because if these guys are, if these guys end up having to take it down, you know what I'm saying, getting a DCMI takedown request, I think it's DCMI, right? Getting a takedown request by Sega, or they get it taken down, you know what I'm saying, or Sega just officially claims the property as its own, you know what I'm saying. I want to see how things go on that front, you know what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, I don't support these guys, and I think they deserve to be sued, you know what I'm saying? That's just personally what I think, you know what I'm saying? Because you have someone, it's not a matter of it being a fan game, it's a matter of it being a profitable, you know what I'm saying, a literal profitable intellectual property, you know what I'm saying? Crazy Taxi is Crazy Taxi, and when I read the article, you'll see how blatant these guys were with their Crazy Taxi ripoffness. And in fact, I'll be right back with that article, you know what I'm saying? I'll be right back right now. But like I said, after I get done reading the article, I'll explain a little bit more about what I was saying. But I am completely on Sega's side in this, and they're completely right in this situation. It's their intellectual property. They have a right to defend it. And if someone else is making money off your intellectual property, I don't think you would be too happy either, because that's potential money that could be in your pocket. And whether or not Sega wants to, make their own Crazy Taxi game or whatever, it doesn't matter. As long as the property, copyright, trademarks, and proper things are in order to say that, hey, this is a Sega game, Sega owns this is their franchise, you know what I'm saying? Then they have every right to go after whatever they want to, you know what I'm saying? Especially if they're making money. That's like DC Comic Universe coming over and deciding Spider-Man is their intellectual property and making the Spider-Man movie, and a fully featured Spider-Man movie, releasing trailers for the game, advertising it, and saying Marvel is okay with them making the movie, and then releasing the movie. And Marvel doesn't get a single dime out of it, okay? And here's one more thing also that I can also throw in the face of people who wanted to try and defend these guys, you know what I'm saying? Another thing I can hit you with, right? Sega has recently been very open about third-party companies coming in and using Sega franchise IPs, you know what I'm saying, and making a new game, and they've supported it. You know what I'm saying? They've been fully into that recently. I think it was Banana Blitz, right? That was made by a third-party developer. Streets of Rage 4. Someone else completely made that. Monster Boy in Wonderland. Someone else completely made that. Who was it who made the Panzer Dragoon remake? You know what I'm saying? So if this company really wanted to make a Crazy Taxi game, they had options. They could have just simply went and partnered with Sega, like all the other companies have been doing, you know what I'm saying, and made a Crazy Taxi game. You can't just steal their intellectual property and not hope to face repercussions. And you know what I'm saying? I hope you listen to my points thus far, you know what I'm saying, and come to understand, if you support these guys, you know what I'm saying, what I'm coming from. Even if you still support them, you understand where I'm coming from with this. These guys this is a blatant ripoff, and it needs to be stopped, and it can't be stood for. Like I said, Sega does support fan games. I support fan games. But when you charge money, and I said this in the Golden Axe video, the only problem is when you charge money for a fan game, that's when it becomes copyright theft. You know what I'm saying? And we can't let that fly. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, I'll be back in a second with the actual article explaining a little bit more as to what's going on. But I hope, like I said, you understood my points thus far, and I'll come back and talk about a little bit more after we're done reading the article. But for now, I'll be back with the article in a second. And by the way, just a little show real quick. PlayStation blog, Taxi Chaos brings back the long-lost taxi genre. You know what I'm saying? Taxi Chaos review. You might not want to waste your fare on this cheap imitation. Sega denies involvement with Taxi Chaos game. You know what I'm saying? And I guess the people who made it are MAE. And look, it says, yes, it's hard not to. It's hard not to when Crazy Taxi Chaos is so shamelessly a clone of Sega's classic arcade and Dreamcast hit Crazy Taxi, from the punk rock soundtrack of its launch trailer to the way its marketing describes the gameplay as taking crazy risk to rush through town to get your crazy customers to their destination. Okay, I'll be back right here with the article. Okay. Oh, and by the way, I just want to say, yeah, I'm reading this article off a site called Game Rant. I've never been here before, but that's where I'm reading this article. It says, with its similar style and similar name, Taxi Chaos looks to share a lot of DNA with the Crazy Taxi franchise, but Sega is denying involvement, okay? And ignore any ads we get on here. In recent years, Sega has scaled back its involvement in the video game world, focusing on key franchises and taking fewer chances with new IPs. With a franchise like Yakuza finding a solid niche in the market and Sonic continuing to do well, the company has a few breadwinners. The company's slower, conservative approach of late is why it came as a surprise that Sega was going to be publishing a Crazy Taxi style game called Taxi Chaos, but it seems they might not be accurate. This might not be accurate. I'm stupid. Listen, see, they flat out came and said Sega was going to be publishing the game and that it was an official Sega licensed product. Like, when you come out and say, okay, now see, here's another problem I have. When you come out and straight up say, okay, Sega is going to be publishing this game. Sega's going to be publishing this game. This is going to be a Sega published game. You know what I'm saying? Sega is involved directly. They know what we're doing. They're supporting this and they're going to be publishing it. This is an official Sega game. That's, again, copyright theft. You know what I'm saying? Taxi Chaos appears to be trying to recapture the essence of the 2000 Dreamcast game with cartoonish graphics and high-flying, reckless driving action. While the original Crazy Taxi holds up well to this day, it has been quite some time since there has been a console release for the franchise. The last being Crazy Taxi 3 High Roller on the original Xbox. You know, I haven't even... Fun fact, I didn't even know there was a Crazy Taxi 3. I just learned that. I've never played that. That's weird. I'm gonna have to check that out one day. There's not really an Xbox emulator, but look, we're getting off track. Okay, we're getting off track. Okay, when PR started going out for Taxi Chaos in December, Sega was listed as distributing the game in Asia, making it appear as if there was a connection between Taxi Chaos and the long dormant Crazy Taxi franchise. These guys flat out said, right, that Sega was involved. They flat out said Sega is going to be publishing the game and that Sega is going to distribute it in Asian markets. Okay? It appears as there is a connection between Taxi Chaos and the long-dormant Crazy Taxi franchise. In a press release, Sega has made it clear that it is not supporting the title in any way and will protect our intellectual property. See? The statement does go on to say that Sega is always assessing opportunities to reimagine our universe, perhaps hinting at a possible Crazy Taxi return. It isn't unprecedented for an old franchise to be brought back from Sega's past. The 90s Sega FMV game Ground Zero Texas is being remastered with a release schedule for next month. See, this is what I was saying earlier about you never knowing what Sega is going to do. They always have something in the works and you never know. Sega is not predictable in any way, and I will always say that, and I stand by that statement. Sega is not a predictable company. You never know what they're gonna do. Period. Look at something like Sonic Mania. No one was expecting Mania, and I don't know why that. My controller cut off. No one was expecting Mania, but here it is. You know what I'm saying? No one was expecting Mania to come out. You know what I'm saying? No one was expecting that, but you never know what Sega is going to do. Okay. There were a lot of things the Dreamcast did that were ahead of its time, one of which being that the console was able to bring the arcade experience of a game like Crazy Taxi to the home market. While arcade-style games have fallen off the market for a while now, back in 2000, having an arcade-like experience at home was impressive. With the huge resurgence that Sonic has experienced recently after years of being one of the internet's favorite memes, the idea that Sega might try to revitalize more franchises does sound appealing. Sonic's return to the spotlight is a bit more predictable than the return of Crazy Taxi arcade genre, however, as the massive fan base for Sonic would attest. While Sega might consider reviving something like Crazy Taxi, the company has made it clear that it has no part in the making of Taxi Chaos and will Taxi Chaos is available now for PS4, Nintendo Switch, and Xbox One. Listen, okay. So, Sega splitting video games and Pacino into separate companies. Look, hold on. I'll turn my controller back on. I'll be right back with Crazy Taxi. Again, like, coming back here on Crazy Taxi now, you heard it there yourself. You know what I'm saying? You seen it there yourself. This company blatantly came out and said, okay, Sega's publishing the title. They said Sega was publishing it, and they said Sega was going to be distributing the game in Asia. And Sega flat out came out today and said today, which keep in mind the game released today, Sega released a press statement today saying that we don't have any involvement in this game. We don't even know what this game is, and we're about to take legal action to protect our intellectual property, which I fully encourage them to do, and I think they should do. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, even Sega just said they're always looking to repurpose some of its franchises. And the thing is, right, Sega has been at it recently. You know what I'm saying? Sega's getting back in the game. I don't care what anyone says. Sega has been getting back into the game with some of its franchises. And I've been praising them recently, personally, about what they've been doing. You know what I'm saying? Because they have been looking to revive some of their franchises, bring their games back. With Sonic, you know what I'm saying? They're saying Sonic's back in the spotlight. To me, he never really left, you know what I'm saying? But Sega's been getting back at it, you know what I'm saying? They've been looking with the return of Panzer Dragoon, Shenmue, Streets of Rage, which is one that was really surprising, you know what I'm saying? Monster Boy and Wonderland, obviously Sonic, and a couple more other games, you know what I'm saying? Sega's been doing good right now, okay? They've been looking to revive their stuff, and Sega is still a big player in the game market. You know what I'm saying? They're still the Sega. I don't know if you guys know this, but Sega is a titan in Japan. Like, Sega is 10 times bigger than Microsoft in Japan when it comes to gaming. Okay, Sega is a titan in Asia in general. They're a titan in Asia in general. Like, Sega is a titan. Okay, they don't even make consoles, and they're about as big as Nintendo and Sony is in Asia. Like, Sega's huge, especially in Japan, okay? So, despite what it may look like here, at least here in the US, Sega is still doing pretty freaking well for themselves, you know what I'm saying? And they've been reviving a lot of their classic franchises lately, which I've been happy to see, you know what I'm saying? I think companies shouldn't abandon their franchises, you know what I'm saying? You know, unless that franchise was never good to begin with, but a lot of Sega's was good. You didn't see Nintendo abandoning their franchises. I mean, they kind of did. Like, I mean, let's be honest here. Almost all of these companies abandoned, like, 99% of their franchises, you know what I'm saying? When was the last time you seen a freaking Banjo-Kazooie game? Anyone? Other than Metroid Prime 4's announcement, which, by the way, you haven't heard anything about. When was the last time you got a Metroid game? The Wii? Right? Or, I mean, unless you count that one on the 3DS, but no one really counts that one. You know what I'm saying? When was the last time you seen, what was the one I can pick for Sony? I don't know. So, when was the last time you got a Little Big Planet? You know what I'm saying? The PS5 is here. They didn't even release, as far as I can tell, they didn't even release one on the Wii. I mean, on the PS4. So what was that? What was the last one for PS Vita? Unless you count that one that also came out on PS Vita and mobile. What was it? Sackboy Run, right? So like, let's be honest here. These companies all do that, but they also always bring back some of their classic franchises. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, Metroid's making a return. You know what I'm saying? Microsoft might be bringing back Banjo-Kazooie. Perfect Dark is back. You know what I'm saying? So there's these companies, you never know what they're going to do, and you can never predict them, you know what I'm saying? And with Sega's High recently trying to bring back some of their old intellectual properties and get them, you know, running again, and some of them being really good successes, like Streets of Rage 4 or Panzer Dragoon, you know what I'm saying? Some of these games are selling and doing well, you know what I'm saying? Really well. Sonic's been doing good. Sega's been all over it again. You know what I'm saying? Sega's been booming recently. You know what I'm saying? So, with Sega having success, I think it's unfair for this random company to come out and try and take away that success that Sega's been having. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't feel right, and I think these guys deserve to have legal action taken on them. You know what I'm saying? Whether Sega decides to take legal action, or they settle it in court, or Sega just wants the game taken down. You know what I'm saying? I support Sega 100%. And you know, it's highly likely that they're going to win because this is an extreme ripoff. This is a blatant case of fraud and This is a blatant case of fraud and a blatant case of a game being completely stolen and an IP, one of Sega's IPs being blatantly ripped off. You heard it with their crazy marketing and things like that. You know what I'm saying? Blatantly basically mentioning Crazy Taxi and them essentially saying this is a Crazy Taxi game. Sega 100% endorses it. I've never been in this part of Crazy Taxi. Never, not once in my life. Like, I've never been here. Like, I've never stepped foot in this part. I'm actually surprised about this. And I'm not even joking with you, and I know this is off topic, but I've never once drove here. Yeah, I didn't even know this was here. That's actually cool. Like, how did I never notice that like a mall little area was there? I've never seen that part ever. You know what I'm saying? But no. I'm getting off topic here. You know what I'm saying? And I'm basically at the end of this video, basically said what I had to say. But I'm just saying, I want you to walk away with this, okay? Like I said earlier, if you left your food there and you were gonna come back and eat it, wouldn't you be mad if someone just came and ate your food because you sat it down and you weren't eating it at that exact moment? You know what I'm saying? That's the best way I can like put this. You know what I'm saying? This is a blatant copyright. This is a blatant copyright infringement. Sega's looking at their legal options, and I'm supporting them 100%. In the case, and you know what I'm saying, when we find out more about this, you know what I'm saying, if we find out more about this, if Sega decides to take legal action, I will cover it further in the future. I don't really cover Sega news like this. Let me know if you want me to start covering more of this type of Sega news. If you enjoyed this video, you know what I'm saying, I actually had fun recording this video, making this video, you know what I'm saying, and like writing the script for this video. I actually had fun doing that, you know what I'm saying. So if you want me to cover more of this like Sega news in the future, let me know down in the comments below. I will gladly be sure to do so. And if you're new here, if you could subscribe, that would be really awesome. We're trying to reach 300 subscribers, and you'll be helping us out a lot. Got it right today, boys. Make sure to share this video with your friends to become a Super Slayer. I've been the old school Sega enthusiast, Sega Slayer 64. And remember, one last time, a takeaway from this. If you have an intellectual property that is yours and it's being blatantly ripped off, you deserve to take action. I don't care. Like I said, Sega is the company of fan games. They do support fan games, and they got fan games all around. But when you start making money and claiming false claims and blatantly ripping something off and selling it at full price, that's when they have a problem. Until next time, have a good one, Slayers.